have with Coach Malzahn and kind of what his message to you when he was trying to recruit you to come to UCF and maybe what you see in this potential in this opportunity that you have here?
You know, truth is, I really didn't know Coach all that well. I know a lot of people who know him. Obviously, at my age, when you're 73 years old, you know a lot of people. That was a joke. Um, but obviously, I'm from Auburn. I grew up in Auburn. I went to Auburn High School, so even though I don't follow the program as much anymore, all my friends, and so that was exciting. And then when he took this job, I was at Houston for 2 years back in 13 and 14. I was a defense coordinator there, and we played UCF 2 years in a row, and they beat we beat them. UCF beat Houston both years. But I always thought if I ever had a chance to live in Orlando and coach at UCF, you'd be crazy not to. So again, just knowing Coach, knowing the structure that he has, the vision that he has, and then fitting that in with this place, to me it's a sleeping giant. So, and I know all coaches are going to say that, but I really believe just with a recruiting base that your potential is unlimited.
Hi, David. Jason Beatty, 24/7 Sports. You mentioned your time as the defensive coordinator at Houston when you faced UCF twice. What do you remember about that 2013 game? Obviously, UCF went on to do good things that season in New Year's Six, or then a BCS Bowl. What do you know about the program since then? What have you seen from that 2013, 2014 when you played them?
I obviously, you see, in my mind, being an outsider, not ever have coached here or lived in Orlando. You see a program that's always that can win every football game, that's talented, that could easily be in a Power Five conference, and for whatever reason hasn't been. But as far as the quality of football and all those things, they get players drafted every year. I mean, it's to me this is a Power Five school. It's just obviously they're not in a conference, but and knowing our new head coach here, it's not going to be long before we play so many of them and compete with them that it wouldn't shock me here soon.
Hello, Coach. Trace Frolko with the Sons of UCF. From your experience, how can a coaching change infuse a new energy and confidence in a unit, especially one such as this defense that struggled at times during 2020?
I really don't. I don't know I hadn't watched much film. I've seen a couple games, but nothing, to why they struggled on defense. Coach Shannon's a great football coach. I just think sometimes change is good. And it just, the players buy into change and sometimes us as adults, we get changed and we act like it's the end of the world. But then when young people go through a change, we're like, hey man, this is easy. You should know how to handle it. I think it's the right time. I think you got a proven winner as a head coach that is very structured and obviously from high school all the way up. And, I think it's a really good fit.
David, this is Matt Rochelle, the Orlando Sentinel. You've only had a little short time to be on the job, but what have you seen from this group that you're dealing with, and what kind of maybe gets you fired up about having these players?
Yeah, I think I've been here 10 days now. I'm trying to learn names, and the truth is these kids work hard. Our strength coach is as good as anybody, and y'all will get tired of people saying that, but our strength coach is as good as anybody in the country. The players are working hard. Coach said it the other day. I don't think that they had one guy get in the portal through the coaching change. Those things, the end of the day, these players here think they can win. They think they can beat anybody. So, our job is to get them going in the right direction and playing together and doing those things. And I think we will, but I'm excited. But again, I haven't seen them do anything but go run around cones and run sprints. So time will tell. But I'm one of those guys. I want to see, even during practice, all those things, they all sound good, but the truth of the matter is you're not going to know till Saturday afternoon when you line up and play somebody for real. So, but I obviously they've won a lot of football games here. They've been a successful program and have done a good job recruiting. So to me, I'm fired up.
Coach, Kyle Nash with the 3-point conversion. You had mentioned that several times. It's been said that UCF is a sleeping giant. What is it that you, or rather the staff, thinks it'll take to wake the sleeping giant?
Oh, good question. The old sleeping giant. I don't. Hey, if somebody had that magical answer, they would still be here, or else they'd be getting paid a heck of a lot of money. Again, to me, and I'm older. When I was younger, every job was a sleeping giant. I'm older. I've been around. I understand what goes into it. I think the number one thing is your recruiting base. It's people can talk about this conference, that conference. It's all about your recruiting base and how easy it is to get in the old, back when the normal world, how easy it is to get people on campus, because they get on campus, you build relationships, you have a chance to get them. And so obviously the pandemic has set everybody back, but the recruiting base here is, to me, gives you a chance from Jump Street. And then obviously when you go trying to, to beat the Florida States and the Floridas of the world on recruits, then, you get into the, Power 5, this and that, and all those sorts of things. But I think the sleeping giant thing comes, above anything else. I think people realize you can recruit here and the facilities here. I mean, and Terry Mohajir was my GA a long time ago. I know what kind of AD he's going to be. He is a pit bull and he's a go-getter. So the facilities are going to change, which again, all goes back to recruiting, because you can be the best coach in the world, but if you can't recruit and get players better than the ones you have on your campus, you're beating your head on the wall. So I don't know if I answered your question, but I answered mine.
Coach Brandon Helwig, Rivals.com. You just brought up what I was going to ask you. You were a young coach at Kansas in the mid-'90s. I know Terry Mohajir was a young coach there as well. What do you kind of remember about those early days of the guy who was now is kind of like your boss here as the AD?
He's definitely my boss now. I've seen him I've been here 10 days. I think I've seen him 7 times. Not because of that. I know one thing. The guy is a hard worker. He's as smart as anybody in the country. He could be a football coach if he wanted to be a football coach. The truth is, I don't even know what his degree is, what his degree's in. Y'all probably know better than I do. I just know one thing. If he wanted to be an architect, he could be an architect. If he wanted to be an AD, guess what? He's an AD. He's that guy. And you knew that at a young age, because no matter what you asked him to do, there were no questions. Things just got done. So now that he's a lot older, has a lot more gray hair, but he's still the same smart. I mean, I've never seen the Arkansas State facilities, but people all over the country tell me they're phenomenal. And that blows me away, because if you've ever been to Jonesboro, you know how hard it is. I think it's Jonesboro, isn't it?
David, it's Mahr again from the Orlando Sentinel. You mentioned this. Your career's been long. You've been in the NFL at college level. Plain and simple, what have you learned? What makes a great defensive back? I mean, you played the position. What are you looking for in a good defensive back?
The guy who could overcome my coaching. And nowadays, whether it's college, whether it's high school, college, or pro, the first problem is nobody wants to play DB anymore, because everybody wants to play wide receiver, because everybody wants the ball in their hands. Because this what are they, Gen Z and millennial, all these young people that they grew up playing video games, and everybody wanted the ball in their hands. So the truth is, there's not as many DBs as there are wide receivers. So if you can find one that's skilled enough, has the ball skills to go along with some toughness to play DB, those guys flip over and automatically, if they were a 2-star, they're a 3-star. If they're a 3-star, they're a 4-star, just because the numbers are limited. There are no decent size, fast guys who will tackle and can catch the ball. So the premium is on guys that can do those things. Safety is a little different to me. Corner cat, those cats got to be able to run, which being in Florida shouldn't be a problem. But you would like for them to be tough enough and also have some semblance of ball skills so that, obviously you can erase a lot of hidden yardage when you create turnovers. So.
Trace Filko again with Sons of UCF. Coach, spring camp starts soon. What are the challenges you and your fellow coaches face with everything happening so quickly?
No doubt. Good question. We're just now installing the defense amongst the coaches. Our players have no idea what defense we're running because they even asked me on, I think it was Friday, and I said, I don't know yet. I mean, I have a general idea, but we don't know exactly what we're going to be running. But Coach Williams will do a great job. He'll get us organized, get us lined up, and then obviously just getting the players in the right positions to fit the scheme. Because you hear coaches say this all the time. I'm a 3-4 defense. I'm a 4-3 defense. Well, guess what? How do you really know what you are until you get there and get to playing, coaching your players and watching your players practice and actually perform what you're asking them to do. So you got to have versatility. Obviously you got to be simple, which I think we will be to start out, just to make sure, we're laying a foundation for what's to come. But it's you can imagine. And the way recruiting is now, holy moly. I mean, half your days recruiting, half your days trying to learn names, and then the other half day, which you don't have, you got to install a defense. So, we're hitting the ground running, and we'll see.
David, Jason Beatty with 24/7 Sports again. You just mentioned Travis Williams' name. Gus has called him one of the brightest or up and coming, defensive minds in all of college football. What do you know about him, and do you have a past relationship with him, and what is it like, early on working with him?
Well, Travis, my boss, was my starting middle linebacker at Auburn in 2005. And if he was 200 pounds soaking wet, I'll whatever. But hard-nosed, tough, I said middle linebacker. He's not one of these guys you see walk out on the edge and one of these cats you see out in space. He was the middle linebacker in the SEC. So that right there tells you tenacity and the smarts, just to be able to get away with that. Stay in touch with him through the years. It's just he's one of those guys that he probably should have got his opportunity 4 or 5 years ago, but because of the place he was at and having played there, I could see why it didn't happen. And he's been chomping at the bit to be a DC, and he will be a head coach in college football soon. And the sooner we play better, the better for everybody.
Coach, Gus has talked about how college football recruiting is so big. Obviously, they're going to hit the ground running. You guys already are. I know you've issued a bunch of offers. I know you personally have a lot of ties in the state of Texas, Texas Tech, been at Houston and everything. Is that an area, maybe territories aren't solidified yet, but would that be a big focus for you recruiting in the state of Texas?
Really, no. Really, my biggest priority is, and Coach has made this clear, is recruiting Florida. It just so happens that when you try to make a splash and get your, let everybody know where you are, you go back to your roots. You go back to the high school coaches and the players that you trust and So, it's one of those deals where I know the kid, I know the coach, I know if he did decide to come to UCF, I know what kind of player I'm getting. So those are the easy ones. I haven't recruited in Florida in a couple of years. I did have a couple in Missouri. And those schools, I have obviously reached out to the coaches, but until I get my feet wet, which I did Orlando on Friday, today I'm hitting as many Tampa schools as I can, obviously on the phone in between install meetings and media sessions. I'm trying to get back in the game here, but by no means do the Texas offers have anything to do with what we're doing here. Now, if some stud says he's coming, will I take him? Yes, sir. Because I know who he is, and I think a lot of times that's where guys make mistakes in recruiting is they go offer a 4-star and he says he's coming and they take him and don't know anything about the kid or the high school or but anyway, so no, Texas is not my area. Yes, I have a lot of ties there. And will I probably sign a kid from Texas at some point? Yes.
All right, last one here from Matt.
David, again, Matt Rochelle from the Orlando Sentinel. Along those lines, you know, you've recruited a lot of kids in the SEC and places like that. Do you get wrapped up in stars or you know, how many stars a kid has when it comes to recruiting? Or is it more about filling a need when you're looking at recruiting for a program, let's say like at UCF?
It's a setup question. I can tell already. I can tell by the way you look at me. It's a setup question. You know what? If I say it's for stars and everybody spends it however they want to, at the end of the day, I want to get guys that are better than the guys that we have on the roster. That's how I try to evaluate, which is why right now I don't know who's on the roster. I mean, I kind of know, but I don't really know. So, but at the same time, the way recruiting is right now, y'all know how these young kids are. If we wait another month to offer some of these guys, they're going to be like, well, you were late. The head coach is going to be mad. You guys were late offering him. Oh, I don't know what I have. So I would rather be late offering a kid, in my opinion, no matter how many stars he's got, than to go offer him and him want to come and then he's not what I want. He's not as good as the guy I got. And then I got a guy in the transfer portal in 48 hours because he ain't playing. So yes, head coaches, media, they love the star system. And I get it. It gives everybody something to do. I'd love to sign them all, but unless you know he's a really good player, I don't know that it matters, but I think when you've done it as long as I have, if I say we're going to go take the kid, he's a 2-star, I think we'll take him. I hope we take him, but because I'm not going to sit there and I think he's better than the 4-star. That's just my opinion. Doesn't mean I'm right. Just my opinion. So, but everything is so magnified, which I appreciate y'all. It's awesome. But I know you got jobs to do. I'm not mad at anybody.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all soon, Coach.
Take care.
Thank you.